Poddin My Noggin, hosted by CK Sims, creating a platform to elevate, educate, and heal by creating a space where people can share their stories of struggle, triumph, and redemption. CKS Media.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Poddin My Noggin. I'm your host, CK Sims, and this week we are joined by author Allison McCune Davis.
Hello.
Did I say that correctly?
You did. Very good.
Perfect. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
All right. So you are the author of this lovely book right here, 60 is a Good Start, A Powerful Body, a Purposeful Life, and a Plan to Make It Happen.
Yes.
So talk to me about this. What what brought Allison to this book?
Well, I turned 60 and that was 4 years ago. I'm almost 65. And I just kind of freaked out a little bit, you could say, just sort of was like, oh my gosh, I'm 60. Now, that had happened sort of at 40, at 50. I think those decade birthdays, for me anyway, the year leading up to those birthdays, I was always just kind of introspective. Am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Is this what like my purpose is and all of that? But at 40, I was pregnant with our second. At 50, I was adopting our fifth. And so I was busy. I felt like, yeah, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. But then 60 rolled around. We have 5 kids and 3 of them were pretty much out of the house. There's still 2 left, but they're pretty independent. And everything had just shifted, my life, what I was doing, what I was focused on, mostly being a mom, but other things too. But I just was very much like, I feel like something is different now and something needs to change because I wasn't feeling that, get up in the morning and I'm excited about what I'm going to do, what I'm, having something to really sink my teeth into. Just, I was restless was the key word, restless. And this is, I find after reading lots about it, a very transformational time for women for sure. Now that can happen anywhere. It's like second part of life, it could be 50, it could be 70, just something in there. Maybe it's the same way for men. I don't know. I'm just, just thinking women at the moment, and so I just kind of went on this little 7-month journey of trying to figure that out. And so I just thought I'm going to have to say yes to things that may not be the thing, because I was looking for what I could sink my teeth into for the next decade, like something like that. And so, the first thing I found was this online group on Facebook. It was Jesse Itzler. Have you ever heard of him? He's the husband of Sarah Blakely, who is the owner of Spanx, that company Spanx.
Okay,
but he's a big entrepreneur in his own right, bought and sold lots of companies, this, that, and the other. And somehow I came across him, and he was promoting his big calendar. And then you got into his Facebook group, and his big thing was he wanted you to decide on a Misogi, Japanese word for a life-changing event. And he wanted you to do that every year. You did something every year that was memorable, that was different, and it could be anything. It could be go hike up this mountain or write a book, or it could be repair a relationship, lose some weight, just whatever it was that you would be like, yeah, back in 2021, I remember my Misogi was right. So I was in this group just reading through things, and it took me like 3 months to decide what was it going to be. And this girl gets in there. I don't know any of these people. It's just, I'm just reading, and these were people that were really living life. Like they were just really going after things, all ages, men and women. And this girl pops up one day and says, I'm going to do 75 hard starting tomorrow. Does anyone want to do it with me? And so that is a challenge that, do you know about that? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's hard. Andy Frisella created that. He's like this big muscle, tattoos all over, intense guy. And I I had listened to his podcast explaining it 4 months prior. And I just thought, there's no way, I'm not his target market like that. I just can't do that. Well, 4 months later, after being in this group for 3 months, and, just being around people that were really doing things, I thought, and I listened to it again. And I thought, I think I can arrange my life to do this. And I think it was turning 60. It was like, okay, I've got to have a Misogi. It was several things that I was pretty motivated. So I did it, and it was great. And I mean, that thing's hard. If you mess up at any point, any day, don't do one of the 5 things you have to do. It's diet, it's water, it's exercise. Then you start over. So, you're really motivated not to mess up. And then I also was in a little mastermind where, again, people were asking these kinds of questions. It was an online thing. So finally it was in the summer, and I was doing a kind of a breathing meditation little thing I do, like 10, 15-minute thing. And it just sort of hit me. I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm going to write a book. So then my brain was like, what? Nobody cares. It's all been written before. But yeah, I just decided. I've taught women for a long time about natural health. I've always been fascinated in longevity and all the studies and all of that. And then I was a TV producer in my early life before family and kids out in LA. That required a lot of planning. Then I homeschooled my kids for about 20 years. That required a lot of planning. So the subject matter are those things. It's like for the second half of life, but also it was like, I don't want to just spit a bunch of information out. Like, I need to give people a plan so they can execute on improving and doing these longevity lifestyle habits that, it's hard to do. It's hard to do something every day that, you're not used to doing. Like, I don't know, walking 30 minutes or, whatever the thing is. But so I've created a framework with all of the longevity habits for people to choose several, do them for 60 days. They can do them on their own. They can do them with me in an online thing. So that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Well, I mean, so there's so much there to start with, right? The first thing that came up for me was 65 looks so different today than it did for me when I was a child.
Isn't that the truth?
But it is, and it's always such a profound thing for me to bear witness to and be like, I'm like, it makes no sense. And my mom, who's 66, she's conscious about aging. And I'm like, Mom, I don't know if you understand this. And I'm not saying this to be cruel or to be mean, but I want you to know that you look younger now than you did at 30. And she's like, what? No. I'm like, let's pull out the picture book.
Wow.
And take a look at it.
Yeah.
Like, it was the hair, it was the makeup, it was all of these different things. And also, I think mentality as well.
For sure.
At that point, played this part where 30 seems like you were next to death when I was a child, right?
Right.
That was it. Like, you know what I mean? And so now, as I'm 44 now, so as someone who can look around and see 60-year-olds, 65-year-olds, 80-year-olds even, that don't look what they would have looked like 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. So that's what comes up with me.
I agree.
Your hair. I'm loving you're very bright and you've got great glow to you. Like, you know what I mean? So right. it's that's what comes up for me right from the start, is that it looks so different than what it did many moons ago. But then the 75 hard, for anyone at home, like, when you said 75 hard, I was ready for a nap, because just the very thought of it is exhausting.
I know.
It is it's so good. It's a great way to develop discipline.
Yes.
And it's a great way to just like shock your body into like.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Sort of
Mhm.
self, if you will. And to do that, to approach that at 60, I think that that's beautiful, right? And you had made another comment. I'm trying to keep always, I have a memory like a goldfish, so I'm trying to remember the things that came up for me when we were speaking. One, you mentioned the second part of life, if you will. You don't know what it's called for men, but you're speaking on women. I think it's called a midlife crisis for
Yeah.
men. And I think that it's highly marketed, right? Because the systems that are built are marketed towards men in their midlife crisis. We don't have systems built for women for their second part of life, for
Yeah.
their next awakening, if you
Mhm,
will.
mhm,
And this is systemic, right? So,
mhm.
we don't see the ads of women who are, say, 60 years old and maybe they're feeling a little displaced or a little like, well, what next? Like, this can't
Right,
be it.
right.
And then we show all of the things that a woman could potentially do
Yeah,
in living their next chapter.
right.
So I think that that's something that bugs the hell out of me, because if you want to, like, people still fail to see marketing today is not what marketing was in 1950s, 60s, 70s. Like,
So true.
most of the women control the money in the household,
Mhm.
right? This
Yes,
is so,
absolutely.
like, you need to market to these people. You
Yes.
have a lot of women who are aging, who's going through menopause, who are looking for their next chapter, looking for their purpose. Do some marketing geared towards that,
Mhm.
right? Let us see that on TV. And just aging in general is an issue for me, because aging for women in like media and commercials and all of that sort of thing, it's just very lackluster.
Well, that's interesting. I honestly have not had a regular TV that has commercials for about 20 years. So I just, we stream stuff and
Same
have
here.
forever. And the only time I ever see commercials is if we're in a hotel.
Fair,
So,
fair.
yeah, so it's pretty interesting to hear you talk about that.
To me, it's just all you see is skincare routine, like
Yes,
beat aging, fight wrinkles,
absolutely. Hmm.
get ahead of laugh lines with
Yeah.
this retinol, with this whatever, with this
Mhm.
new thing, and it's
Well,
like,
that's all
okay,
over social media for sure.
exactly, and it's like,
Yeah,
what? But there's more to aging for women than there is by just trying to retain some youthful look.
absolutely.
Like, there's purpose and passion
Mhm. Mhm.
and life, and then when empty nesting happens, because
Yeah.
does happen, that adjustment, that shift, as you said, like, that leaves a lot of individuals lost,
Right.
because they have spent their life,
Yeah,
probably very regimented in the fact that they have all of these people to provide for,
that's right.
um, maybe working as well, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden it's gone.
Not to mention it's in their nature to nurture, i.e. give, just for all those decades. Yeah.
So I went off on a little tangent there, but
Good.
that's the thing, right? It's one of those frustrating things. I want to see a space where women are celebrated
Mhm.
for aging
Mhm.
and celebrated in taking their next chapter, just as you did
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
75 Hard. And then I want to say, the name, Misogi?
Misogi.
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 So I was close,
Close,
close.
close.
So your Misogi was not the 75 hard,
No, it
or it
was.
was?
It was 75 hard for that year, for
It
2021.
went,
I
and
decided to write the book in mid-July. It was actually July 4th, funny enough. I don't know what the significance of that is, but and so my Misogi for the next year was write the book. I mean, so I just had begun putting it together the end of that first, 2021 is what it was. But so for 2022, it was write a book.
and
And it's
so
been surrounding that subject since then.
so 60 is a good start, is kind of like a double entendre or
Yes.
a multifaceted type of title, because
Yes.
yes, you sort of started after 60, right?
Right.
But it's your framework is a 60-day program.
Dare, yes. Uh-huh.
So I like that. Love wordplay in books.
Uh-huh.
Um, looking at you now, looking at this lady on the back of the book here, not seeing 60, right? Like in my mind's eye, it's just like,
Thank you.
it doesn't make sense to me, but it is what it is. So this book contains a lot of different things through your gray hair, declining health, and slowing down. But it's a culmination of, as you said, like lessons learned from while you were a TV producer, homeschooling mom of 5 for 20 years, like
Mhm.
all of those things.
Right.
So you have the first book here. Okay. And so what would you say would be in this book for the reader?
Well, that is the main book. Of course, the other book is the planner that goes with it. So the content, all the content is in that book. And that book is explaining a lot of things. I mean, in the first section, it's explaining, natural health, what it is, why we want to pursue that first in the world. My father was a surgeon, so I came from a very medical family, and I didn't even think about anything natural till I was about 30, and that was when I lived out in LA, and I had a issue going on, and this friend of mine, kind of an acquaintance that lived in my apartment building, said, "Oh, you have to go to my TCM doctor." I'm like, "What's that?" She said, "Traditional Chinese medicine." I was like, "Oh my gosh," my dad would flip his lid. But I went, and took a long time to get in. He was real busy, real successful, I guess. And he basically helped me heal that issue, which has never come back, with herbs and diet. And, I was like, okay, that's interesting. No prescription, no over the counter, whatever from the drugstore. And that began my just foray into natural health and what all those things that are like grown in the ground can do for us. Right. I always say our body is not deficient in anything synthetic.
I love that.
Yeah. So we just need to get out of the way. It heals. It's designed to heal. So, but we tend to do things to prevent it from healing, like whatever. Maybe it's eating the wrong foods, or maybe it's putting synthetic things in our body that are causing issues in there, like whatever. Maybe our cells can't get the right thing because the wrong thing's blocking them, things like that. So this book is explaining, what is natural health. It's explaining what happened in America that took us away from that in the last 100 years. Because 100 years ago, and I always ask that question, well, what were they doing 100 years ago? How were our grandparents or great grandparents living? And so, there's that explanation in there, but then it's leading to my framework and explaining that, which, I looked at all these studies, the blue zones. You know what the blue zones are?
I have heard of the blue zones.
Okay,
Yes.
so just for your audience, I'll just quickly say those are the 5 areas in the world where there's the largest conglomeration of centenarians, and they've been studied and studied by various people, and found what the commonalities are. But there's also some really big Harvard studies, like there's one with 226,000 women over many years. There's a book on cancer called Radical Remission. It's a great book, and it's looking at cancer patients who there was not a good outcome expected, but because of all these lifestyle habits that they did, there was a good outcome. And so, all of these are saying kind of the same things in terms of what should our lifestyle habits be. So I took those and divided them into 3 pillars that I call body work, which is the physical, brain work, the mental, emotional, spiritual, and world work, our purpose and our relationships. And all of those fit into those categories. So those things are what are important. And so that leads to the 60-day dare. And 60 days, 60 is a good start, meaning 60 days, because there's the neuroscientist, Dr. Caroline Leaf. Yeah, that's the planner for the 60 days. And And she's been around forever. She's in her late 60s. She's written probably 20 books. And I love her. She's got podcasts you can listen to and stuff like that. But she's the one that says, and she looks in the microscope at the nerve cells in the brain and can see habit formation literally on the nerve cells. And I'm just doing my hands like that because I'm thinking of the picture of when the habits form. They form into what ultimately looks like a little umbrella, and at that point they are automatic. Now it might the least amount of days is 60, 2 months. It could take as much as 8 months. Depends on the person, the habit. Is it a thought habit? Is it a physical habit? Just what is it? But at least 60 days. So I want women to just commit to 60 days. Like 60 days is not that big a deal. And you get to this part of in life and it's like, well, there's that party coming up, or well, I'm going on vacation. There's always something. There is always something that will get in the way. And what it really comes down to is, are we adhering to the promises we want to make to ourselves? Because, we keep promises to other people, but can we keep the promises to ourselves? And this is a line I love. I didn't come up with it. I forget who did, but our future is hidden in our daily routine. So when we are like, I really want to be the kind of person that does blah, blah, that's fit and that think, what do we want to be a year from now, 5 years from now? Well, so we have to be doing those things. And the truth is they don't really take that long. We just have to somehow fit them in our day, make it become a habit. Some of these things are 10 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, it's not that big a deal really when you get right down to it.
I absolutely agree. And we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Partner today with CK Sims and Poddin My Noggin to get in front of an audience that cares. You will be supporting mental health stories, tales of resilience, and uplifting content, aligning your brand with bringing goodness, authenticity, and kindness front and center. This spot could be yours. Do you have a story of struggle and resilience? One that you want to share with others and possibly help someone through their own struggles? Find the link in the show description and fill out the guest form today.
Welcome back, everybody. Before the break, we have been talking to Allison McCune Davis about 60 is a good start. I just want to kind of jump back into what you were just talking about, right? You had said the goldfish brain. Can you repeat what you said? Because it just hit me.
About your future?
Yeah, with the promises.
Oh, we keep promises to other people, but do we keep promises to ourselves? I think those are the ones we break the most. I said I was going to do this thing, and then, I'm not going to do that. I don't feel like it.
So yeah, it's absolutely 100% true for everybody that I know, right?
Yes.
And if I promise somebody I'll do something, hell or high water, I'm going to do it.
Right.
But we don't hold the same regard for ourselves for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about food, and I think there's the greater issue is, and I'm going to be bold. So this is a CK Sims statement, not an Allison McCune Davis statement. I think that we have become lazy in our society today because everything has become so convenient. But what has become so convenient is the dirty foods, the stuff that poisonous for you, the synthetics, the sodas, the sugars, the salts, all of that sort of thing. That stuff is so readily available, and we get so caught up in our work and whatever else is going on that it's not a priority. 100 years ago, that was the priority.
That's right.
They took the time to make those foods. They took
the time, and that's what they find in those blue zone areas. They take the time to cook a meal. It becomes a social event. everybody's in the kitchen doing it together. This person's chopping this person's stirring the soup. It is a social event, and they take the time to do it. But this is America. Well, you're in Canada, right?
Same deal.
Same thing, yeah. The Western world, let's call it that.
Yeah.
Um, we move fast. It's modernity. It's modernity. And with modernity, what happens is inventions are made for our comfort. The washing machine was made so we didn't have to hand wash things on the washboard in the river.
Yeah.
But everything that we make is for our comfort. So it's just little by little by little, we become more modern and lazier. And I don't know, and then we're out doing all the things we want to do. And, we can drive through fast food just like that. Hey, I do it. I mean, not all the time, I hope, but, every now and then I'll be with my kids and, we'll just do something like that. But when that becomes the norm, that's when things can get out of hand.
Absolutely. And it's, when I say the lazy thing, I'm not trying to be hard on anybody, because I too.
Yeah, we all are. I sit and binge watch Netflix.
Yeah, right. And I think what's interesting is, like, when you spoke of the washing machine, but the washing machine, if you were to look back at sort of marketing and things like that, the washing machine was to make things more convenient and streamlined for the person so that they could spend more time with family.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
Right?
Yes.
Like, so a lot of those modern inventions initially were made so that they clear up more time to spend quality time with family. Because
yes,
family time back, 50, 60, 70 years ago was the central focus of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're at we have all of these automatic things like a washing machine, a dryer, a dishwasher, all of these extra things, but we're not managing our time.
Right. Are we actually using that for our family? To
We're
have
not.
time with
Or
them?
for ourselves.
We can find other things like scrolling social media.
Exactly.
Like to check out.
Yes. And I find that that's the state of the world at this point. Is that we're just all in this place where we kind of feel that we need to check out because we're so inundated, so stimulated, if you will, with all of the things. So 60 days, we were talking about this as well. The 60 days is sort of the bare minimum to form new habits.
Yes.
Form new habits. It could be more depending on the person, as you mentioned.
Well, and you can do multiple 60-day dares. I think that's the goal, really. But 60, your first 60 is a good start.
So you have this planner that people can get online in all major bookstores.
Yep.
And would you recommend stacking? Or would you recommend a focused 60 days dare?
When you say stacking, what do you mean? One after the other?
Well, no, like just I want to say quit smoking, and I want to be involved in charity work. And...
you mean, okay, I know what you mean. My general recommendation is you pick one thing out of body work, one thing out of brain work, and one thing out of world work to do for your 60-day dare. Now, some people are doing more. I'm in the middle of one right now. We're 2 weeks into it, a little over 2 weeks into it with in my online program. And I have 2 under body work. I'm eating 30 grams of protein first thing in the day. Okay. And then that's my first. So under body work, you're going to choose something to do with eating. And it's up to you. Maybe you want to do a certain type of diet. Maybe you want to add something. Maybe you want to get rid of something. Maybe you want to just change something in your diet. Or drink water, half your body weight in ounces at least. You're going to do that every day. Or move your body, can be something related to exercise. Or sleep. It's really focusing on getting at least 7 to 9 hours of sleep. And then breathe is the last one. Those are deep breathing sessions, 10 minutes a day. Really important. People don't understand that. We don't breathe right in America or in the West. And so, that's a whole thing. So one thing. But I'm doing two. I'm doing the 30 grams of protein first thing every day, and then a 10-minute breathing session
Okay.
hopefully in the morning sometime. It can be any time. And there's been a couple of times where it was 10 o'clock at night and I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot. I got to do it right now. So I don't want to miss anything. Right. And it takes a while to get into the rhythm of it because you're creating new habits. And then in brain work, you're going to choose from either writing. So this could be just a brain download every day. It could be what I call morning pages. That comes from Julia Cameron, who wrote a book called The Artist's Way. And it's just, you write 3 pages right when you wake up. You're just writing 3 pages, kind of continuous writing without thinking, right? Just let whatever comes out, come out. And throw it away if you want. It's not for anybody's eyes. But the writing can, if people are still dealing with trauma maybe, or something they haven't like really dealt with. And, we have to deal with those things on multiple levels. Like we can deal with it this year on one level, but 2 years later, we might need to deal with it some more, right? So maybe someone feels like they just need to get some stuff out on paper. So that would be a daily thing. Number 2 would be read. And that's going to be just nonfiction, uplifting, self-improvement, could be business improvement, but just something that's uplifting. So important to get good things going in our eyes and our ears regularly, in terms of just our mental health, I think. Number 3 is clear. That is decluttering your house and detoxing your house. So whichever or both of those, 15 minutes, go over and declutter that bookcase, whatever it is, your closet, just a little bit every day, because that can mess with our mental health, I think. But also the detoxing, like basically bathroom, kitchen, laundry room, that's where the chemicals are. So there's so many things, products out there that are chemical free that are better for us than the things that have chemicals. So kind of going through your house and dealing with that. 4th thing is meditation, prayer, or affirmations, just like a 10-minute session of one of those things. And the 5th thing would be, I call it create. So it's sort of art making. I mean, it's not like if you're a painter and you sell your paintings, that would be more in world work. This is more of a like de-stressing, some kind of art making. They say 45 minutes of that and your cortisol levels go down. So that it's for the brain. All of this goes to de-stressing. All of that body work and the brain work, is about de-stressing, which is a huge sort of central thing here, is to de-stress in terms of longevity. World work. If you don't know what you want to do right now, and a lot of my friends are in that situation that I've talked to, that are close to my age, there's 60 dream questions. I call them dream questions. And you can answer one of those like in a journal every day. And I think those will lead you to, or get you on the road to figuring out, what do I want to do in the next decade, next 5 years, 10 years with my life. Number 2 is engage. A lot of people deal with loneliness at this point in their life. Empty nesters, kids have gone off, maybe they've gotten divorced, or maybe they're widows or something like that. So, engage with another person, not through a text. Meet someone for coffee, go on a walk with someone, call someone across the country you haven't talked to in a year, your brother, whatever. It's just engage. These relationships are so important to longevity, positive relationships. Number 3 is called gather, and that is for the spiritual side of things. One of the big things in these longevity studies is these people are part of a spiritual community. So that could be a church, it could be a small group of people, it could be a one-on-one thing for the purpose of talking about those subjects. So whatever, it would be doing something like that. And number 4 is help, which is volunteering. Lots of people find new purpose through some kind of volunteer arena. what I always like to say to people, I feel like one of the things I try to tell people or teach people is how to say no. Boundaries are so important. And I think a lot of people they'll, volunteer for something you really want to do that sounds great to you, right? Because otherwise, I think resentment sets in. Usually if you're not doing what you think you should be doing, right? You really got to be, I think, at this point in life, very intentional about how you spend your time. And then the last thing I call act, and that's if you do know your purpose, work on it for an hour a day at least. So I want you to pick one of those. On the world work ones, you can rotate them during the week. You don't have to do the same one unless you do those dream questions. You might want to do all 60 of those, but you might rotate through those. But on the body and brain work, I want you to do those pick something and do it for 60 days. So that's starting to build those habits.
It sounds like an adjustment, but not like a 75 hard, if you will.
Yes.
It feels that it could be, I don't want to say easy, but a very comfortable change in a person's life.
I think so. And you are going to design this. I give you my recommendations. They're kind of middle of the road recommendations. In the book, I give you examples of, here's for someone that's just brand new to this. Here's for somebody that's all into it already, And so you're going to design this the way you want to design it. And you need to design it. You don't want to set yourself up for failure, right? So you need to really think about that. Really think about where am I going on a trip for these next 2 months? How am I going to do this while I'm gone? And I've got a lot of little tricks for that too. But, if you only want to do one thing out of the 3 categories, do one thing, but you're designing your life. These are the keys to longevity. We know that. So we should be really trying to, across the board, maybe we've spent years meditating and praying and it's just second nature. We don't even need to think about it. So don't worry about that one, right? You're looking at the ones that you know that you need some work on. And baby steps.
Yes, baby steps. And I think one of the things you had mentioned was we should be very intentional at this point in our lives.
Yes.
But I also think that we should be realistic.
Yes.
With ourselves, not
absolutely, because you don't want to. I don't want anybody beating themselves up, and I've talked about that like in our group. It's just like, hey, we have weekly accountability Zoom call, and so how'd you do last week? I don't want anybody coming to that or not coming to that because they maybe screwed up, in their mind they missed a day or whatever. No, this is little by little by little. We're getting better and we're getting better, and we're just there to talk it through with each other.
One of the things that coming up for me right now, and I've talked about this on the podcast before, but so when, the 60 days to create and form new habits, right? And it's really a lovely way of saying mindset shift, if you will.
Absolutely.
Because you're changing your body's pattern, or what you're giving to your body, your mind, and then what you're giving to the world. And the cycle of all of that is filling your cup.
Yes.
In the long run, it's filling your cup.
It is. So you can give out to other people whatever your gift to the world is, and everybody has one.
And I would challenge people who are listening and this is what I want to say, I would challenge people to realize that they deserve to fill their cup, because there's so many people who feel undeserving.
Yes.
I'd like to feel better. I'd like to have purpose, all of these things, but like, who am I to do that? Who are you not to?
Yeah, absolutely. Right? Yes, so, absolutely.
My story with the 60 day, like with the repetition, if you will, and I'll make it short because anyone who's watching, at 35 years old, I had a major life event that could have resulted in me not being here anymore. And then, so pre-35 dumpster fire, like the worst kind of dumpster fire. And then post 35, after this life event, I realized that my internal dialogue since childhood has been awful, right? Which is the case for so many people.
So many. Yeah.
And so I decided that I deserved to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided that I had to make changes. So similar to what you're suggesting in this book.
Yeah.
So I started a random day after coming out of the hospital, and I'm an animated person, so I would like catch my negative thoughts and then
I
look
love
at them, sort of revisualize. The goal to me that I set was that I have to at least make them neutral, right? So, oh, I'm so stupid, I can't remember somebody's name, or I mispronounced their name. Everybody makes mistakes. It's okay to make that mistake.
Mm-hmm.
You will remember their name next time,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and then putting it back in. If I can make it positive, perfect. So this became something, I guess this would be your mind work that I spent it took me about 6 months, I think, to really notice a difference. Because
Mm-hmm.
35 years of negative self-talk.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
but just the repetition of catching and rephrasing those thoughts,
Yeah.
putting them back inside, showing yourself kindness, the grace when you make a mistake or you mess up, is so paramount for
Yes.
change and those things. And I remember it was 6 months after I started that. I was getting ready for bed one night, and I just put my water on my nightstand, and I was walking towards, I can see it, I be in that moment right now, walking towards the bathroom, and I stopped in my tracks, and I had this realization. And it was that throughout this entire day, I had not had one negative thought.
Wow.
And I didn't believe it in a moment. I stood there and I was like, no, that's not possible.
Mm-hmm.
That's not possible.
Yeah.
And I must have taken like 2 or 3 minutes to try to go through every single thing today just to find one. And there wasn't one. And so the stuff that you are talking about in your book, and then you have the accompanying planner, like this is real.
Yeah.
And it is life changing.
Yes, it is.
And if you don't know, if you believe that you're beyond hope, regardless of what your age is,
Mm-hmm.
but especially for all of our women in this world who are aging and feel alone or displaced because we don't have systems in place for you,
Mm-hmm.
and that's our fault. You are not. Like this will change. This could change everything for you.
Thank you. Thank you. I think so too. I've thought so. I keep thinking so, and it's been a few years. So that's kind of, I feel like, usually, you'll have a good idea, and then like a week later, you're like, oh, that wasn't such a good idea. Right. But this has stuck with me in my mind that I do think if people will pursue it, it will make a huge difference. What you were saying about your experience, that just goes back to the what we are putting in our eyes and our ears, in our senses, is going to determine, it's garbage in, garbage out. Like
Yep.
if we put bad stuff in, that's what's going to resonate in our brain and just be what our thoughts are. Like there's another saying that we are the 5 people we hang out with. Maybe one of those people's like a TV show, or I don't know what, but we have to do all these things on a pretty constant basis that are uplifting. I remember when I was in my 40s and my health just kind of went down to the toilet. I'd had 3 kids, that really takes it out of your body. And so for that decade of my 40s, I remember for a long period of time, I had printed out 40 healing affirmations on 8.5 by 11 cardstock, and literally my whole bedroom wall, I put them, 40 of them, all up on there. So I saw them when I woke up in the morning. I saw them when I went to bed at night. I would say them, just looking up there, saying them over and over, things like that. Just really being intentional, really being conscious of our thoughts. And we can't change them because they are just habits. They're like a record, the grooves, and those grooves from childhood. I mean, decades of that. I mean, I so appreciate what you were saying about that. It's a big deal, but it is possible to change them.
It's so possible. And if you were to ask me 8 years ago, could this version of me exist? I didn't think it was possible, right? Like I
Mm.
just didn't. But I'm a default positive person.
Mm-hmm.
I still have tons of room to grow. But like I wake up most days and I'm happy to be alive.
Mm-hmm.
I am happy that I get to have a job. I'm happy that I get to do this podcast.
Yeah.
Like I have a lot of gratitude, and I just never imagined that version of me could exist. Like
Mm.
it was possible. So it is possible for you to do it. And for me, I hear what you're saying too when it comes to like what we view,
Mm-hmm.
hear, speak even is like I will protect my peace at almost any cost
Yeah.
because I've learned a lesson
Mm-hmm.
of what not protecting your peace can do.
Yes.
So like I have, for instance, just two best friends and a sister that's who I spend my time with because they are positive, like-minded people who want to see good in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But this is totally off topic, but this is who I am. But my favorite thing to read are suspense thrillers, and my favorite thing to watch is true crime. And I'm
And I
like,
get that. I get that. I think we can get to a point in our lives where you did the healing, right?
yes,
You really did. And I did in my case too. I'm not saying I'm not watching something that's like some drama, action, adventure, whatever. I mean, I am. Now, I can't do horror films or anything like that. There are some things I just cannot do, but I like a good action, movie. And so I think there comes a time where we've developed the resilience against it, right? We do. We develop resilience. But some people, if they're not there, they got to really pay attention to that and
yeah. And the
process.
other thing I want to tell the audience or the people listening at home is that like when you start healing, you can change. It is fully possible.
Mm-hmm.
You can start with using these books as your anchor points to move you through them. But I want to tell you something because it's something that people don't speak about often. Healing is messy.
It
It is
is.
not linear. And sometimes healing is more uncomfortable than being where you were.
Yeah.
But I need you to know that when you get there, when you get over that crest and you realize how far you've come and who you are today, it's worth it.
Absolutely.
It's one of the most beautiful things that you will ever experience. Being mindful of time, you said you have an online group. So
Yes.
for people who are interested in purchasing this book, or both books, I would recommend,
Mm-hmm.
because you're going to get hooked with this book and then you're going to want the planner to help you stay organized. If they're starting this up and they feel that they want more support, how do they go about getting connected with you?
Probably the easiest way is my website, which is just my name, AllisonMcCuneDavis.com. You can go to that website /links, and that will give you like links to lots of stuff. The link to the book, the link to the online community, or you can go straight to 60 Day Dare on my website also. So there's a couple of ways to get there, and that'll take you to the online community.
And it looks like you're in a field of lavender.
Yes. That's up
which
in
sounds like the
Utah.
most happiest place in the world.
It's
Where
wonderful.
did you say it was?
That
In
was
Utah?
Utah. Uh-huh.
Okay, yeah. It's I love the colorful, the dress, the hat, the whole thing, the whole aesthetic. And they can from this website. I'm going to link this in the description as well. They can from this website get connected with you.
Absolutely. They can send, and I'm on Instagram also. They can send me, messages there or, and Facebook. I'm probably on Instagram a little more, but both places. But yeah, also on my website, there's a contact page or there's, go to that links page or yeah, it's not hard.
Awesome. Well, I would highly recommend we'll stick with women who are aging because we need more supports in that arena.
Yeah.
I do think we do. Not enough representation. And you had mentioned in this interview that, someone's already written this book or whatever that situation is. But, I think that maybe someone might have written something similar, but no one can say something that you can say.
Exactly.
You have your own voice.
Yes, yes.
And we don't have enough of it as it is. So
Yeah.
we do need to ensure that we put it in there. So anybody at home who is in the aging process, who is having kids transition out, or you're retiring, or whatever the situation may be, pick up this book, both books actually, give them a read, and remember that you're worth it. Like you can make the change, you can do it. It's laid out for you. Go do it. You deserve it.
Amen.
I will make sure that I link how to get in touch with you, how to buy the books in the description. Allison, I want to thank you very much for being a guest here today. It was such a pleasure talking with you.
Oh, I say the same back at you. You've been wonderful.
Good. I'm glad. And I hope, is there something next? Do we, oh gosh, I'm going to screw the word up again. I want to say Magazi. Okay. Misogi. So is there another Misogi coming?
Well, my next one we'll have to figure out for 2026. I don't know what it's going to be. So that's going to be, I don't know. But right now, my Misogi is actually, it's promoting this book and the online program. And because the book came out in January, so it's basically doing lots of these podcasts and, just whatever speaking, which is, at first I was like, oh my gosh, promoting, but it's been so fun getting to meet people like you. Oh, I mean, it's just, I've really enjoyed it. But my goal is to do this for this year, and we'll see what happens.
And you sound, what I want to say to that is that you seem so at ease and comfortable with what you're doing, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, yes.
So yeah, I think that that's great. All right. Well, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. I wish you the best. And to everyone at home, make sure you get out and buy the book. And until next time, get out and live your wildest dreams.
For media and sponsorship inquiries, email info@cksims.com or visit cksims.com and fill out the contact form. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. A new episode airs every Saturday. CKS Media.